The world of portable projectors is fraught with cheap plastic tat. You've probably seen them on Amazon. Little flat rectangles with a tiny LED that projects at like 480p with about the same luminance as a birthday cake candle. And they all claim to support HD or even 4K, which simply means that they can open a file that's encoded at 1080p and project it at whatever pathetic little resolution they actually run at, which is why I am always very cautious about approving reviews of portable projectors. The first thing I ask of any pitch we get is, why does your listing say 5,000 lumens or lux? It obviously isn't. What's the actual ANSI lumens, which is a standardized metric? And at that point, they either lie or give up. This is not one of those. I'm James Bruce, you're watching MakeUseOf.com reviews, and this is the Xgimi Mogo Pro Plus, which is quite a mouthful. It's their top-of-the-line portable model, and it's actually pretty good. Xgimi, unlike many projector sellers, does not lie on their product listing. It says right there on their website, 300 ANSI lumens. And while I don't have any tools to accurately measure light levels, it seems about right by comparison to other projectors I have. It projects at a native 1080p, full HD resolution. It runs actual Android TV, and it has a dual speaker sound system apparently tuned by Harman Kardon. And it's actually pretty nifty. Measuring 5.8 inches tall and with a rounded sort of 4-inch or so square profile and weighing just under 2 pounds or 0.9 kilograms, this truly is portable. But there's no carry case included, so you really should source something that will keep it protected during transport, especially if you're taking it out and about. There is no ruggedization here. There's not even a lens cover. Underneath the base of the unit is a mechanism you can pull out to tilt the device, but thanks to the autofocus and auto keystone, you can pretty much put it anywhere and get some sort of screen. Though of course the more extreme your placement, the less actual screen real estate you get as it tries to compensate by cropping the projection. Internally, it runs Android 9.0 on an Amlogic T950X2 chip with a Mali G31 GPU. Has 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of built-in storage for apps, etc. It's also equipped with Bluetooth 5.0 and dual band Wi-Fi, so connectivity shouldn't be an issue. A 65-watt charger is included in the package, as well as this sleek white remote control, which has a tiny switch on the base, making the volume keys into a fine focus adjustment if you need it, which you probably won't anyway, because it automatically focuses itself. Setting up the device was ludicrously simple thanks to the deep Google integration. All I had to do on my phone was say, "Google, set up my device," and it transferred over the Wi-Fi password through Bluetooth. And then I used the Android TV URL to transfer my login details for my Google account. That was really impressive. And I didn't have to use the projector's on-screen keyboard once, which is usually a pain point. Unlike a lot of portable projectors that claim to run Google Apps and actually only have that utterly atrocious Aptoid nonsense with a sum total of 6 apps available, the Xgimi Mogo Pro Plus is Google certified and running Android TV. It even has Chromecast integration and a Google Assistant button on the included remote. Now, this is a huge positive point for usability as an all-in-one media center. However, it's not perfect. If you want to use Amazon Prime or Netflix, for instance, the device is not certified with them, so you'll still need to use the external input HDMI port with an approved streaming stick. Now, in fairness, this is not Xgimi's fault. They say they're working with Amazon to get it certified, but it's not clear when or even if that'll actually happen. It's on Amazon and Netflix basically to approve the device, and they are notoriously strict about these things. I also found out that BBC Iplayer has a troubled history with the Android TV platform for some reason, so it's not on the App Store either. However, other UK terrestrial channels like All 4 and ITV are. Thankfully, it was incredibly easy and seamless to cast it from my phone's Iplayer app instead. That worked perfectly. Still, there are 5,000 apps at your disposal, and chances are you'll have your phone with you anyway and can easily cast from it. I remember just a few years ago, portable projectors like this all claimed to support casting, but it was usually mirror cast and the technology just wasn't there. It was quite unreliable. But with this, I found it actually works. It works pretty well with either iPhone or Android, and it's pretty seamless. And of course, if that isn't good enough, well then you still have a full-size HDMI input to plug in whatever you want, just a little bit less convenient. Okay, but it is a projector, so let's talk about the image quality, brightness, and screen size. Starting with Keystone Adjustment. Keystone, if you don't know, is removing the distortion from a projected image that happens when you're projecting from an angle. But this always means that you're reducing the native resolution because you have to distort the image, so you squish it on one side. You make it together to make it more rectangular on the projection surface. The Xgimi Mogo Pro Plus has an auto keystone function, which is very impressive to see it in action. You can tilt this thing all over the place, plus minus 40 degrees horizontally and vertically, and it'll straighten itself out automatically after it detects movement. It also auto focuses at the same time, and that too works reliably. So it's rare that you'll need to manually focus it, but if you do, there's a little toggle on the bottom of the remote. Just switch that over and then the volume keys now adjust focus. It's all very easy. The Xgimi Mogo Pro Plus can also be configured to project forwards, backwards, or hung from the ceiling upside down. And it also apparently supports 3D via active shutter glasses, but I don't have any to test this out. Now, in terms of projected image size and throw ratio, it's not even remotely short throw. It's about 1:1, I found. So if you want a 1 meter diagonal image, you'll need to place it around 1 meter from the projection surface. If you want a massive image from a small package, this isn't going to do it. But then again, 1:1 isn't bad at all. It's just not short throw. I found that by placing the projector by our pillow in a double bed, it was just perfect to have it project onto a shower curtain draped beneath the corners of the bed. So it's literally perfect for movie nights in bed. It was just the right size. As for brightness, it does have an eco mode, which is terrible. Avoid that at all costs. Mostly I left it on the highest brightness level, which I found was more than enough at night, of course, and visible during a cloudy day, but not ideal. As I said, I don't have the right tools to verify the brightness claim scientifically, but Xgimi states around 300 ANSI lumens, and in my opinion, that was accurate. Testing alongside my home cinema projector, which I know is around 2,500 lumens, that seemed fair. It's certainly well above the brightness that you typically get from a Pico or portable projector, which is usually around 100 to 150 ANSI lumens. And for the intended use cases, I don't think brightness will be a problem for you. It was fine for movies and gaming in the evening or with the curtains closed. Of course, this depends how far you push it, and while the brightness was fine for a 60-inch diagonal screen, 150 inches is a lot less viable. One thing that slightly annoyed me was that once the low battery warning comes on, it forces you into that horrible eco brightness mode. So even if you just wanted, another 5 minutes at full brightness for the movie to end, you can't, until you plug it back in again, which was quite annoying. Xgimi claims 30,000 hours of battery life for the LED light source, and while I obviously can't verify that, it's a typical claim made by most manufacturers that use LEDs, so there's no reason to doubt that. Lastly, let's talk about sound quality. As a standalone battery-powered device designed to be used all-in-one as is, and with Harman Kardon plastered on the box for having tuned the dual 3-watt speakers, I was expecting something a little bit more impressive on the sound front. Sadly, although it's certainly loud enough and the vocals are clear, which is arguably the most important aspect, the bass is quite lackluster. For movies with explosions or bass-heavy, trancey soundtracks, it's more noticeable. But in fairness, for most TV content, it's pretty good. We did sit through a few full-length movies and documentaries with this, and it was quite watchable. It does seem to be well tuned, I'll give them that, but of course, you just can't get massive bass from something this small. But I do appreciate that the dynamic range is good. It was easy to pick up voices, and that's not something you can say for all speakers. There is also an audio out port for headphones though, or Bluetooth 5, so if you have some favorite headphones you're taking on your imaginary holiday or out into the woods, then that's also an option. In terms of battery life, after a full charge I ran it at full brightness and full volume, streaming over Wi-Fi data, and I was able to get 1.5 hours of streaming playback out of it. So consider that as the minimum bounds of what you can get with everything set on max. But I should note that after an hour and a half, it also switched into super low power mode, which restricts you to eco brightness levels, which is almost invisible in the daytime, but does keep playing for another 15 to 30 minutes or so. So you could feasibly finish watching that movie if you were desperate. But as I said, eco brightness was just not good enough for me, and I would have liked the option to disable that and basically just run the battery down for another 5 minutes at full brightness, but you can't. Of course, lowering the volume, lowering the brightness, and using local files rather than streaming over the Wi-Fi will all increase the battery life. The brightness being the most significant drain on the battery, of course. So if you're happy to run it at medium brightness for a slightly smaller screen, it's called office level brightness for some reason, then you should easily get 2.5 to 3 hours out of it. So in summary, the Xgimi Mogo Pro Plus pros and cons. Let's start with the cons. It's not short throw, so to get a large screen size, you need a good throw distance. And realistically, with 300 lumens, you're looking at a maximum of about 100 inches in total darkness before it becomes too dim. The audio, despite being Harman Kardon branded, is lacking bass, but it's clear and easy to hear the vocals. Lastly, for the price, I really would have liked to see some sort of padded carrying case included, considering that it's supposed to be portable. That seems like it would have been a very small cost to throw in the box. On the Pro side, it's Google approved, runs actual Android TV with an official Play Store, Google Assistant and Chromecast capabilities. Big plus. The interface is snappy and easy to navigate. Most of the time you won't need the external HDMI input because of the native apps. The only exception is for certain streaming apps like Netflix or BBC Iplayer, which aren't approved for the device or aren't on the store for some other reason. Some of these you can cast from your phone anyway, but if Netflix is a deal breaker for you, this isn't for you. It has decent enough brightness, a nice balance between those invisibly dim Pico projectors and a budget home cinema projector. This sits pretty much in between the two, and it projects at a native 1080p, not just supported 1080p. The battery lasts at least 1.5 hours with everything on max, so enough for most full-length movies, just not Lord of the Rings. Overall, this isn't going to replace your home cinema projector, but it's not designed to. As a portable projector, it's really quite good, but before buying, you really should consider how much you need it to be an all-in-one portable device, because ultimately you're paying a lot for the convenience of that built-in one battery and the all-in-one design. The current RRP is $700, which is about what I paid for my ultra short throw home cinema projector, which easily nets us a massive 150-inch diagonal image from just 6 foot away. My point is, if you're packing a large power source anyway to drive up and go into the middle of nowhere, you could buy a pretty decent 1080p projector with a larger built-in speaker, much brighter and shorter throw image, rather than paying for the convenience of that built-in battery and that tiny all-in-one, admittedly very neat package of the Xgimi Mogo Pro Plus. But if you do want a simple all-in-one solution that pretty much sets itself up with autofocus, auto keystone, auto everything, and actually runs a decent OS which actually works, then this is it. For me though, I would have preferred a slightly larger device which would have allowed them to fit in a larger driver for the speaker and a larger battery. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you to Xgimi for sending this over to check out. If you found this review helpful, please hit like and do consider subscribing to our channel for more tech reviews, tech news, gadget giveaways, and more from all of us over at MUO, which you'll find at makeuseof.com. Thanks for watching, and until next time.